weird. Oh my God. My is cutting out.
This is a different style of investigation completely. We had been getting a lot of comments about viewers wanting to see the raw walkthrough, like raw activity that happens when we walk in. We had been trying to kind of shoot something for people and leave like a long segment where you can kind of feel like you're walking through these locations with us. For a few months there, we're very cognizant of not stopping filming at all, especially during the walkthrough. So that way we could put you in our shoes, almost like you were doing the walkthroughs with us. We were contacted about this house in Georgia where the owners were actually experiencing a ton of crazy shit. Moving objects, disembodied voices, aggressive bangs, doors flying open, the whole gambit of paranormal activity that you expect in a highly active location. For those of you that watch these type of videos, you probably gather and understand that there are different types of activity that you can experience. There's certain levels of it which are obviously eerie, but then when you start going into the moving object, physical touch, causing bodily harm, you're stepping into a realm of not just a haunted attachment of some sort of spirit. That kind of stuff leads you to an inclination to believe that this place might be demonically attached or demonically possessed. Words like wraith, poltergeist, these words come to mind when these experiences happen to us and when we hear about these experiences happening to other people. The episodes usually get edited in a way that it's at least somewhat entertaining for you to watch. You don't lose the scientific aspect of what we're doing, but from the person sitting in front of the screen observing what we're doing, it's not this painstaking, boring, just sounds of our devices going off for multiple hours that you have to kind of suffer through. And some of you all like that, but for all intents and purposes, usually we give you the bread and butter of what our investigation is, so that way you can view an episode in a contained, not really short, but not extensively long format, basically. What was different about this one, obviously, was that we literally just gave you the raw footage as it was happening. We let the one shot run, no cuts, no edits. And what the camera captured on this particular evening was everything we'd hoped for, and something that we subtly hope we never experience again. Almost immediately upon entering this house, we're obviously very observant during the walkthrough. We see where things are, what doors are closed, what doors are open. And I remember when they approached this locked door, had a padlock on it from the outside, which to us is kind of trippy already. We always wonder why things are locked from the outside, especially when you actually gain access to this area and it's like a finished basement. It's a room with a bed in it. It just seems very, very peculiar, I'll say. Accompanied with the light switch that had the do not turn off, almost like they wanted to be in control of the light down there. Why would that be a thing? Like, we don't want to be disrespectful, but of course we're going to test everything, you know. It says don't touch it. We kind of have that childlike mentality when we're on investigations where we're like, well, what if I do? And so we did, and we noticed it was literally just turning on the light above the stairs. That's all it was doing. It wasn't turning on a hot water heater. I don't even know if the house had a hot water heater. It wasn't turning on or off some sort of like ventilation system. So that was peculiar as well. I remember Tanner tapping on the light switch, and immediately we hear what sounds like wood slamming into itself. And we look to the left, and before I even noticed that the chairs had been stacked up in this crazy, like statuesque form, I noticed that there was pots that were hanging from the ceiling and pans that were swaying back and forth in opposite directions.
Somebody in that tower. Holy sh**. You see the chairs? Oh my God.
Almost like something ran towards the dining room or ran from the dining room towards us. Then I noticed the chairs were stacked all the way to the ceiling, and it happened in a split second. It was like, almost like they were magnetized and someone flipped a switch and they just went whoosh. But the really peculiar and eerie part of it is that between the chairs, there was cobwebs. I don't fully understand how these energies manipulate the physical realm that we're in, but it was like we knew it wasn't there. It happened in an instant, but then it had evidence and symptoms of being there for much longer than just a moment. Obviously, we walk towards the chairs. We want to investigate what's going on with that. We want to see how is it possible that these assembled themselves in such a short window of time. And while we're walking into the kitchen, I start taking notice to all of these different sprigs of sage that are hanging from the ceiling. There's multiple different kinds. And those of you that have any experience dealing with these type of things, you have probably heard of or understand like a sage cleanse or smudging. And that can have a wonderful effect as far as like rebuking any sort of energy or spirit or attachment that is present, but it can also have an instigating, provoking effect on any entity or powerful demonic energy that may be present. We can't assume that some sage smoke is going to be able to combat every level of poltergeist activity or paranormal attachment that occurs at these locations. We're standing there perplexed, kind of shocked, still like going over what we just experienced with the chairs. And I hear what sounds like a faint, muffled, deep bass sort of pound or rumble. And I kind of didn't want to be the first one to say, oh, wow, what was that? And Casey noticed it immediately and looked at me and he said, Colt, I know you heard that too. I saw your face. That is like some...
Hey. You just hear that?
Oh, I know you heard it. I just saw your face. Yeah. Something just like made a bang up there.
While we were focusing our attention on that, our attention is immediately drawn upstairs where we heard that noise. We're walking upstairs to investigate the noise, and I remember Casey standing behind me, and he has his camera in his hand, and we hear that same wood clatter noise, and he spins around in a split second, and the chairs are stacked right there at the bottom of the staircase.
Oh my f***ing God. How?
What? What the?
The thing is, we didn't hear any dragging, any sort of shuffle. It was, again, in like a split second, barely any noise at all. All of a sudden, another chair statue was made at the base of the staircase.
Dude, I turned around and these were right the f*** here. Right here. Look at that.
For me, I always focus on the emotional movements that I'm having while I'm in these places, especially because everything is kind of heightened while we're there. I mean, there's the fear and the nerves. There's all of that coming to play. And I remember after that happened, we slowly crept up the stairs and I felt a drastic increase in energy, drop in temperature. Something threatening was building. At that moment, I was like stuck in this mindfuck paradox. Like it all happened way too fast to process. At this point, we hadn't even broken out any devices. We've done 0 tests. We've had nothing that we've been utilizing to try to actually contact something. And when we get to the top of the stairs, all Casey has in his hand is a camera and a flashlight. And as soon as he starts mentioning like, oh, it feels different up here, the flashlight starts malfunctioning. Every time we go anywhere, fresh batteries, fresh charge, 100% on every single thing. So none of these sort of equipment malfunctions ever really make perfect sense to us. That's when it started getting really strange. For whatever reason, we're drawn into the bathroom, and as Casey rounds the corner, you can see it in the footage. We see the shower curtain kind of extend and slowly collapse back into the shower. Immediately, he pulls it back to reveal that there's nobody standing there.
Oh, what the fuck? Fuck no, dude.
There's no one here, bro. And again, as soon as he does that, there's 2 chairs that are sitting outside the bathroom door that were not there. They're literally blocking the path. Almost like something set up audience seating to watch what we were doing in the bathroom.
You sure you saw it though?
Yeah. Yeah. What the f, bro? What? Look. Whoa. Look.
Oh no.
We do a sweep of the entire upstairs, have the equipment malfunction, flashlight is barely even working. As we walk down the stairs, it starts functioning as normal again, and me and Casey hear what sounds like a faint woman's voice. The disembodied voices is something that we'll probably never get used to.
Did you just hear that?
Yeah. You heard like a woman, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too.
Right after we hear the disembodied voice, Casey's flashlight starts flickering again, starts malfunctioning. That was probably the first instance of an experience where I felt like I was having someone else's thoughts. And it shocked me when he turned around and saw my face and immediately had the reaction of like he saw a demon or a ghost.
Those footsteps? Damn it! My eyes are f***ing playing tricks on me or something. I don't know, man. Huh? I don't know, dude.
In the footage, I can see that my pupils are like saucers. Like my eyes were black. And I don't know if it was like the lens aperture malfunctioning or if it was like the angle of the light that he was shining at me. But you can also see my reaction. Like it wasn't because he said, "Oh my God, look at your eyes. Oh my God, oh my God." It was the combined effects of me having these thoughts of violence, not towards them, just violent in nature, which is super uncommon, as well as him saying that there was like a physiological reaction to what my mind was doing internally, and it was seen through my eyeballs. They say eyes are the windows to the soul. I like to think that my soul hasn't been affected in any way by whatever entities we come in contact with, but what I've learned since then is that there's a lot of counteracting effects that you need to take when you do expose yourself to these things.
I don't know, man. Huh? I don't know, dude. Go with me, man. What the f? You looked fucking really weird just now when I looked back at you.
After that investigation, I became so much more conscientious about how I counteract those effects after coming in contact with something like that, especially when it's captured on like video and auditory evidence. At first, when Casey looked at me like that, I thought he was going through some sort of like psychotic episode or like a schizophrenic break where his nerves were just finally to the point where he was starting to hallucinate. After reviewing the footage, I realized that I was being physically affected by something. When we went outside to review the footage, that was one of the first times I opened up to these guys about like experiencing subtle symptoms of attachment. And it was the first time I think I was actually worried about it. I mean, since we started doing investigations, there was definitely times in the past where I had like questioned, am I all me still? Like, am I the only one in here? Or have I picked up travelers or hitchhikers along the way to getting here? A lot of you have commented on this investigation. I mean, over the past years, I mean, there's thousands and thousands of comments about this. And to be clear, all of this happened in such a short period of time. I'm talking like maybe 1 to 2 hours. It never, ever, ever occurs like this. There's been a couple times where we enter a property that no one has been to, or we go into a location, a house, a business that there's a reported paranormal activity happening. And the second we arrive, our cameras capture something completely unexplainable. This was entirely different. This was a possessive energy. Like this place thought of this house as its own, and we were intruders, and it wanted us to fucking leave. And if we didn't, it sought to harm us. It was so intense with the video evidence we caught and auditory evidence, we never even ended up running tests. I don't even know if we can still access that place or if we could ever go back. Don't know that we want to. It would be nice to follow up and see if anyone else is having these type of experiences, because also something happens psychologically to a person when they live in a house like this, or they frequent this house, or they spend a long period of time in a place like this where they form this attachment with the entity. The entity and them almost have a relationship. They form a relationship which is like a toxic friendship, where they view this entity as something that is going to be permanently present in their lives, and without it, they lose a part of their identity. It's very odd, and for people that exist in a completely different reality where you don't understand, or you're not like aware of these things happening around you, or you pass them off as just like a coincidence or a happenstance. Very strange. I know throughout the course of becoming a paranormal investigator, I picked up some traumas that almost resemble like PTSD symptoms. And I've been trying to work through those. For a lot of people where they're just alone in a house, the family's not there, and their only person they're communicating with is something that isn't physically there, it's really difficult for people to pull themselves out of that mentality and out of that almost hallucination, but it's real. It's not physically real, but it's got this sort of extra dimensional pull to it where they start yearning for each other. And it becomes like this transactional relationship of energy exchange between them and the person that they're attached to or tormenting. That person might not even look at it as torment. I think Tanner in another video referred to something called Stockholm Syndrome, where you start to look at like your captor or the person persecuting you as like your hero or like a god. Very, very strange. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I just want to say it feels really good to get a lot of this stuff off my chest and be able to eloquently explain some of the processes that I went through and some of the movements I went through emotionally and mentally while filming these things. It's giving me a bit of closure and the ability to kind of move on to the next chapter when it comes to creating content and continuing to investigate these things that we're super, super curious in. It's really awesome to watch the outpouring of support from our existing fans and also gaining new fans. As a content creator, you kind of get stuck in this world of catering only to the people that have watched you for years, forgetting that there's a completely separate group of people out there that may not even know and are very curious about what we do, that when they find us, they realize that we are adding a lot of value. But those of you that continue to provide us the reassurance and validation that what we are doing is worth more to you than just brain rot content that you scroll through. And for those of you that watch the entire episode and stay engaged with the entire thing, that really helps us out, especially with analytics and recommendations. But if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet and the notifications, please do so. It's absolutely 100% free. For those of you that want to do the added support, we do have a membership program. It gets you custom badges. It gets you some privileges outside of just your normal viewership on YouTube. Also, the Patreon, the Discord is a great way to go if you want to get involved with the community, suggest locations, suggest us other channels that we might be able to do collabs with. And it really helps to foster an environment where the paranormal investigative community on YouTube can kind of come together as one big family. And we want you to be a part of it. Also, we have some sick merch, man. If you guys want to help support the channel, very reasonable price. We're not trying to make $1 million off of our merch. We're just trying to use the proceeds from this to fund more and more videos and increase the quality of our content as time goes on. Again, self-funded channel. We're taking days out from work to do this, and we're really, really happy that you're even here to watch it because we're putting a lot of effort into this at this point. We're only going to put more and more and more as time goes on. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.